Crypto for growmybag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good? What's good? What's good? Yes, we have a lot of news to cover. Something I found interesting. I know. I'm running late. Don't worry though. It's going to be a good show. There's a company called Contigo, right? It's Latin American exchange, and they got hit with a hack. And the hack cost them about $340,000 that they're paying back, or they're reimbursing the people that were affected. Allegedly, they have identified the hackers, but that's not the news. Wait a minute. Somebody gets hacked, and that's not the news? Yes, you heard me right. That's not the news. The news is they've had their accounts at JP Morgan frozen because apparently they have ties to Venezuela. And so what that says to me is it is possible that other companies can wind up having their accounts frozen because of their dealings in Venezuela. Now, doesn't that sound interesting? Like I said, the hack wasn't the news. I mean, even this bit of news was kind of like yeah, and this too. What? We're not just going to skate by that and nothing. So now you need to wonder, well, who else is involved in Venezuela that might not be in good standing with the United States and others that could have their accounts frozen? Now, is this going to have a huge effect on things? I don't know, but if they're going to be locking down exchanges that have ties to Venezuela, I'm wondering if there are any other exchanges that have ties. And I'm going to be wondering how far it's going to go. Stop and think about who's involved with Venezuela. Nefarious characters. Right? Not going to name names, but nefarious characters. And has the government followed the money enough to know who's involved and where to disrupt? Yeah. Doesn't that sound interesting to you? It sounds interesting to me. Like this is going to be like a crazy movie when it gets made. Because that's a lot to drop. Anyway, we have more news. I'm just saying that it's one of those things that perked up my ears and immediately pointed to other things can also happen. Because it was quick. Because they're unrelated. The hack is unrelated to JP Morgan freezing those accounts. So when the United States put the squeeze on, did they also put the squeeze on by leveraging financial institutions? So I'm wondering if there's more shoes to drop. And I have to tell you, that would kind of be a positive for certain companies, wouldn't it? So that's going to be interesting. That's going to be very interesting. And that's going to add to the turmoil that's going to happen, or that is happening in Venezuela. Right? Because there is no leadership that's currently recognized for the long haul. Like the leadership that's there right now, they're being told you're going to hold elections and you'll see what's going on after that. So there's economic turmoil right there, especially when you start hearing reports. We touched on this last night, hearing reports that, the United States might seize their Bitcoin. Huh? Kidnap and theft? I don't know about that. That's some of the things that I'm hearing coming out of this are very, very interesting. Grand risings, Fatima. Grand risings. And thank you for letting us know that you're investing in yourself. Greatly appreciate that. YZI Labs criticized CEA Industries stockholder rights plan, and bylaw amendments, citing potential 34% ownership via warrants, because they're taking a long time to have the meeting, have the vote. So YZI Labs is not happy. We were talking about this purchase a long time ago. So it's very interesting that things are dragging on, and there's a 15% poison pill. So the deal's supposed to happen, and there's still issues. Yeah, yeah, big problems. NVIDIA's Rubin data center chips have been announced, right? Offering 3.5 times faster AI training and 5 times faster software performance, and they're set for a release later this year. Just making changes in my notes. Sorry. Yeah, there you go. With Microsoft and Google expected to adopt them amid competition from AMD and competition from Google themselves. Yeah. So at the data center level, sure, you've got these chips and that's great. Google might not have a solution for that. But at the lower levels, well, Google's got TPUs. So Google is a customer and a competitor. There's a lot to follow. It's a tangled web, and nobody told me I didn't have my logo up. Come on now. If I slip, okay, but you're supposed to be there to help me out. Come on, where's D Bluey? What else do we have going on? We've got Taiwanese prosecutors indicting Tokyo Electron Taiwan and 3 individuals for stealing TSMC trade secrets. And there's a lot to go on here, with potential prison terms and fines up to 145 million Taiwanese dollars, as TSMC faces rising AI chip demand from NVIDIA and Chinese firms. Now, I had said to you that something that we're going to have to contemplate is China finally saying, okay, we're going to take over Taiwan. That's where all the chips are made. Something else that people are not paying attention to is there's this EVU or EUV technology, basically the wafers and everything else that happens that gets made out of ASML, and it's only done out of that company. And China has said they have created some kind of, and they, people referencing, kind of a Frankenstein put together kind of, infrastructure to actually do the same thing. Nowhere near what, yes, there would be a call this Sunday. Nowhere near what ASML can do. However, they are well on their way. Now, I want you to think about this. So if they can do that by themselves and they take over Taiwan, haven't they literally cornered the market? These are risks that I pay attention to. These are the risks that I pay attention to. Because I want you to say something. I want you to remember something. One of my favorite things is looking at how certain things in movies kind of play out right here. And you have Iron Man saying, oh, the nearest person is 10 years out from my technology. And then you have this guy, what was his nickname, that character name, Whipsaw or something like that. And he created the same technology in his basement, basically, with scraps, just like Tony did. Meaning you're not the only smart person in the room. That's what that means. And China saying that out loud basically says, you're not the only smart people in the room. We can do the same thing. As if the lesson was not learned when DeepSeek hit. Now, everybody was paying attention to DeepSeek. You really should have been paying attention to Qwen 3 or Qwen. Why? Because DeepSeek was based off of Qwen Tech. But because they're both Chinese, it's okay. And then that's why you keep seeing new products, new services, and just new tech coming out of Qwen. And everybody's like, who are they? They were around before DeepSeek. And they're doing all kinds of things. Image generation, video generation, text, audio. They're doing a lot of stuff, and they're making it cheap for you to run things on your own. So when you look at what's going on in China, you've got to say to yourself, that was a shot across the bow. You are not the only ones that can do this, is what they're saying, and they're following through with it. They're demonstrating. They're not just talking, they're showing. So all this bravado that I see everywhere, I'm sitting back and I'm just saying, yeah, okay, keep having that bravado. Keep having that yap yap. Step up your game. And you're going to have to do it soon. And, when I think about chips and the chip space, I think about, here's NVIDIA and all these, big, beautiful chips that they have and better technology and better this and better that. And here's Google that came out with TPUs that are specialized, that can do what they do, and basically saying, you better step up your game. NVIDIA came out yesterday and they said, we're basically stepping up our game. Is that going to be enough? AMD has advancements. Google has advancements. The only reason why I don't list off Intel is because they just invested $5 billion in Intel. I'm telling you, pay attention to that space. Pay very close attention. Something that I pay attention to is who's actually creating solutions. Not worried about the tech. How is the tech being used? That's where the cost savings is going to come. That's where the revenue generation is going to come from. How is it being used? How is it being leveraged? How long does it take? Blah, 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 blah. And, I try to tell people, we have a class called Learn How to Do Your Own Research. And the reason why I have that class is because so many people get taken away by, FUD. They get taken away by, the ifs, the maybes. And I try to teach you, pay attention to the facts. The U.S. might seize 600,000 Bitcoin from Venezuela. Where'd you get that news? Some reporter has a hypothesis that a single place in Venezuela is holding all of that? Maybe. Doubtful. Maybe. But that move by JP Morgan says that assets can and will be seized. So where those assets may lie, that could be how the United States squeezes Venezuela to having elections. Now, when I look at that, I kind of say to myself, okay. So I'm going to wait for more things to get played out or to be played out. But am I going to think that, something that annoyed the hell out of me. Already we're talking about paying oil companies, multi-billion-dollar organizations, paying them to go in and rebuild these oil refineries. We're going to pay them to make money. You're joking with that statement, right? That's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And it continues on that level of stupidity. If a multi-billion-dollar oil company wants to invest in that area, fine, go ahead and do it. But there's no reason why the United States taxpayers should have to foot the bill for them to go in there and make money. Unless the United States is getting some of that money back as well. Right? Because it makes no sense. We're going to pay whatever oil company to go in and fix everything. That's called investment. That's called investment. So unless we're getting money on the back end, I don't think we should be paying for anything. Giving you tax breaks? Are you serious? Nah. And already we're hearing language like that. I have a problem with that. So big on the United States making money, NVIDIA has to give you a 25% kickback. That would mean that, by your new rules, the oil company should have to give you a kickback. Not only should we not be paying them to go in and do all this work, but they should also be giving us a kickback, right? Because we just reopened the market for you. And why would we be giving you a kickback when some of these oil companies were already there and the stuff that's there is actually theirs from back in the day? Or could be theirs from back in the day. But either way, I'm not going to pay you to make an investment and then me see nothing on the back end. That's dumb. That's not the way you run a business. And yes, this country is a business. Just get it straight. What other good news do we have? Andreessen Horowitz outlined 17 crypto priorities for 2026, emphasizing stablecoins handling $46 trillion in transactions, tokenized assets, AI-driven wealth management, AI-driven wealth management. Come back to that in a second. And blockchain privacy solutions. Now, I had a bunch of my friends laugh at me. Oh, Eddie's creating his little financial analyst, his little financial analyst agent. And here we are with A16Z saying exactly what I'm doing. AI-driven wealth management. I'm doing it for research. So I've got different pieces to my agent, right? I've got stocks, bonds, options, cryptos, ETFs, and real estate. Because I already have a real estate tool that I built in Excel. Remember all those reels and TikToks you used to see from people trying to sell these little Excel workbooks? Well, we took that to the next level. We have our own. And we're going to translate that into an AI agent so that all I have to do is punch in an address, and it will come back with a robust report about the area, the school, the educational system in the area, the money making, the average income, all of that information, just by punching in an address. Just and it goes, and it says, okay, here you go. And it comes back to me in minutes. In minutes. One of my stock analysts, it'll go out, create a MACD and R/RSI chart, come back and tell me, hey, is this a buy, sell, hold? What is it? Real quick. Oh, I see, said the blind man. I see, said the blind man. And here we are, people just laughing at me, just going, oh yeah, ha ha ha, you know, building that agent, what are you doing? This is why. You forget, I'm a consultant. My team, this is what we do. We're looking for problems that you don't realize you have and building solutions for those problems so that by the time you call us, we can go, oh, got something for that. You want to hear something crazy cool? I want you to listen to this kid's name. His name is Brandon Washington. It's one of my friend's sons. One of my friend's sons and one of my son's friends. They grew up together since like kindergarten. We used to play football. These two kids used to look so much alike when they were smaller. The only difference was my son was a faster runner, but they both hit real hard. You put one on one side of the football, one on the other side of the football, on the side of the lines, and then they would just crush you. These were not the faces you wanted coming at you. But Brandon, love this kid. This kid is building out something using AI to help educate children. That's right. He grew up to become an educator. He's trying to solve problems that people didn't realize we had, that were there right in front of our face. That's a very big deal. Proud of you, kid. Very proud of you. What other news do we have? Energize Healing Fitness. Good morning. Don't forget to invest in yourself today. What else do we have? Data centers contributed $6.5 billion to electricity costs in 2025. PJM auction. Yeah. Power. Yeah. So I'm looking at these numbers and I'm like, that's not cute. Because I keep telling you guys, these data centers are taking priority for power consumption, are getting some sort of discounts for guaranteeing power usage, meaning guaranteed money for the private company that runs the electricity. Remember, because the electricity is not run by the government. Aha. Yes, that's right. Those are private businesses. And they're in it to make money. And they're not here to make money for anybody else other than their shareholders, and that has been proven in a court of law. The highest of levels. So yeah, that's a problem because everybody else foots the bill. Everybody else foots the bill. That's a massive, massive, massive problem that needs to be taken care of. Major trader Fred Wilson predicted crypto user friendliness in 2026, while Vitalik Buterin highlighted Ethereum's blockchain trilemma solution via upgrades like Pectra and what was the other one? Fusaka. advancements. And if, in case you didn't understand what that means, is ease of use of blockchain tech. Yeah. Think about how that translates down the road. Yeah, household is what that means. Jensen Huang, in case you don't realize, Jensen Huang did an interview with CNBC yesterday. I think it airs today. So I'll be paying attention to that because I want to hear everything that's coming out. Because supposedly they have new chips that are more powerful than Blackwell chips. Those are things that I was talking about earlier. And I want to understand at what levels are they coming in, right? And how much is that all going to cost? Because right now we're absolutely seeing the higher prices for chips and memory. And now we have a problem. It's just been announced that Greenland belongs to its people. European leaders unite over Trump's threats to annex the territory. Because somehow Trump came out his mouth and forgot that Greenland is owned by Denmark. Denmark is a member of NATO. And if you attack one, you attack all. Yeah. That right there is an economic problem. Remove the politics away from that, and you have a massive economic problem if Europe decides we're done with the United States. So we're alienating ourselves economically? We're not supposed to be alienating ourselves economically. It's like we're sanctioning ourselves. So China and Russia over there with BRICS against us. Other countries that are members of BRICS against us, against the US dollar. And now we're going to make enemies of Europe? I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let that go from right there. Grayscale distributed Ethereum staking rewards to the ETHE shareholders, marking the first regulated crypto income distribution under the 1933 Act, with 0.083178 cents per share paid yesterday. Yeah. I'm just saying, is it a ton of money? No, it's not a ton of money. But staking is staking. A dividend is dividend. Money is money. And it went up yesterday. So you got the double whammy right there. Pearls of information eventually become necklaces. Do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. We can't be running around missing stuff. Telegram's $500 million bonds remain frozen in Russia due to sanctions. Still a massive problem. But that's $500 million, and they're still making money. So, gotta wonder what's going on. What's going on with Telegram's money? Telegram. I mean, obviously, if you're gonna miss $500 million, but the move did not crush Telegram. And I really want to understand what Russia's issue is with Telegram. Yeah. RBI and BIS warned of stablecoin risks, advocating for CBDCs, Reserve Bank of India or something like that, but it's India. And they're pushing the world to say, instead of relying on stablecoins, create CBDCs. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's not the way to go. It tells me a lot about India, though. What it tells me about India is India wants their people under boot. Because if you create a CBDC, the government can directly control what you can and cannot do with your CBDC, with your money, your value. That's a massive problem to me. That's a massive problem to me. Japan's Nikkei surged 225. Nikkei 25. Let's try again. Japan's Nikkei 225 surged 4.3% in early 2026. It's the 5th. They mean yesterday. They mean yesterday and this past Friday. That's what they mean, and not really Friday. I'm just saying. Just saying. The market is looking up But remember, things don't just continue going up all over the place. Do your research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. And remember, investment means money in, money out, leave money where it is. Those are the choices. Money in, money out, leave money where it is, whether it's on the sidelines or already invested. Those are your three choices. Make them wisely. Anyway, you know what we should do? That's right. We should get into the numbers. All right, let me get my notes out of the way. See that big fat headline right there? See that big fat headline right there? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Greenland belongs to its people. European leaders unite over Trump's threats to annex the territory. European leaders unite. If that doesn't send a chill down your back, it should. It should. And not that response, because that's a response. The chill down your back should come from the action, the statement, the originating statement that we would even think about doing something like that. That's a massive problem. So you can gloss over everything that's going on in Venezuela. It's a distraction. It really is a distraction. Oh, it needed to happen. It should have happened. Blah, 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 blah. It's a distraction from current events. Remember that. What else we have? Today we have Richmond Fed President Tom Barkin speaking, and we get S&P final U.S. services PMI. That's nice. This week we get, I mentioned yesterday, we get the job numbers. They'll be clean numbers, something we haven't seen in months. Crypto fear and greed index, we're all the way up to 44, jumping up from 26. We're still in fear, but we're way over closer to the other side of fear. Me, I still have fear. I don't know about you. Total value locked up about $1 billion, $1.5 billion from yesterday at $126.93 billion in total value locked. And you can see how much we have in stablecoins market cap. There's a stablecoin market cap right there. And you have the DEX volume in purple over here. And you have the all-around total value lock numbers going on in blue. I like to have it like this. Like, I don't always show this on camera, but this is what I like to have because it shows me what's going on. Shows me activity. And you can see all the activity happening. Just saying, right over here, right over there. You can start to see activity popping off. Right now, I told you before, do you see that right there? That's the 93,434 number that I keep mentioning. And we're still trying to fight to stay above it. Currently, we're just below it at 90, actually just above it at 93,785. We've got to maintain higher than that number and sustain that level. We've got to sustain being within this band right here if we're going to even think about getting into the $100,000 mark. And I think it's going to take a sustained, remaining in that area, right? And then another pop up before we hit another down. That's what has to happen. I don't know. Like I said, I still have fear. Means I'm paying attention to how I can make money. See that nice upward trend right here? That's nice. I could probably draw a nice trend line right there. That angle is a little too far up, don't you think? Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's why I won't bother drawing that trend line because that'd be ridiculous. Yeah. Looking at the big board, you can see there are a lot of things that were up. XRP just blasting off. ADA blasting off. I mean, ADA at one point was like 30 cents or something like that. And now it's up at 42. That's almost a 33% jump. Pay attention, folks. I've been telling you for a while. If you pay attention, you can make money on the way up. You can make money on the way down. You can make money moving sideways. You just have to pay attention. And you have to learn how to do your own research. Just saying. Looking at the big board right here, yeah, you can still see good performance. You can still see very good performance out of some of these, projects or coins. You can see XRP 29% up. Look at that. Doge 28% up. Cardano 26% up, almost 27. You can see double-digit ups from a lot of these projects. Matter of fact, let's just go over here. All right. So when I look at the losers, there were two big losers, Pippin and Midnight. Why does Midnight keep dropping? Yeah, that's that Cardano thing. Still dropping. 0.49 GMB X factor. Pippin, a 0.66 GMB X factor. No, I have not done any research on Pippin. I have no intention of getting in on it. Midnight I already have because I hold a big bag of Cardano. Winners. Wow, Onyx coin, something I have not touched, will not touch, but it's up 91%. GMBX factor of 1515. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Render up 23%. GMBX factor of 4.29. SUI up 17.56%. GMBX factor of 1.70. I think SUI comes back. Farcoin up 17.3%. GMBX factor 4.53. Dog with Hat up 15.31%. GMBX factor of 9.82. Zebek Network. I know a couple of people are involved with that, not me. 13.26 up 1.3 GMBX factor. Just saying. And you can just go down the line. You got to go a little bit. XRP up 11.25%. GMBX factor of 0.54. Right? I told you about FET. Up 9.73% with a GMBX factor of 10.26. Pump.fund up 9.31%. GMBX factor of 2.58. So you've got a lot of places. This whole list is above my 5% rule. Above the 5% rule. That's huge. These aren't small things. Do your homework, folks. Do your homework. You'll be a lot happier when you do. Anyway, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. Hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor. Smash the likes. Tell your friends about what we're doing here. We're building a big community, and we're all focused on investing. We've got more tools, we've got more services, we've got more articles. Everything that you hear me talking about today is over on the website, growmybag.tv. You can see all the articles that are there. We pump out articles all day long. Keep up, catch up, use it to your advantage. Become a member. This weekend, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will have our Big Bagger video conference call, and only big baggers are allowed to take part in that. So if you want to become one, you better join up. Everybody, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And as always, thank you for your trust. Me and my team will work for that every day. Everybody have a good one. I'll see you later on tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the overflow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.